basically, I want to say until they faced TSM, I think they were like 6-0 with their Enchantress strategy. And in all fairness, in those 2 games that they did lose, they were looking like favorites, especially in the second one. They were super far ahead in the early mid game. The first game was very close until they suddenly got 2 lanes of barracks, but then dropped the ball a little bit and got countered super hard. TSM really brought it back in both games. So I could foresee Beast Coast being in a similar position here where they need to come back from a rough early laning stage with this Enchantress potential tri-lane that Gaimin Gladiators run unless they play it with the Legion.
Talk to me about the Bristleback, another hero we don't get to see that often. Obviously, LC, a pseudo counter to that hero since you have to face him, or her in this case, to actually attack, which leaves him very susceptible. Is this a game where Bristle can pop off is really the question.
I think so. I think what they were looking for in this pick, they wanted a good lane matchup against the Ember. They wanted a hero that can sustain some of the damage from Chaos Knight. It's a little bit tricky because I believe when you get Reality Rifted, you'll get pulled in and face. Yeah. And you're also playing against Legion Commander that can duel you to force you to face your front toward the enemy team.
Up, K1. He's going to get Chaos Bolt. He gets up a nice Blood Right, and that was basically just to ensure the rune for Gaimin Gladiators.
Yep.
And it looks like it's going to be 3 for 1 in terms of the bounty rune in favor of Gaimin Gladiators again.
More than anything, this Bristleback pick just shows me that Beast Coast have a really good idea and understanding of how they play around Bloodseeker, because I think what was the icing on the cake here that made them not just pick it for the lane matchup and the matchup against TK is that they have this spread damage that will allow their Bloodseeker to snowball the fight. Even if you kill Bristle, a lot of the time he will deal a lot of damage, right? Just randomly across the fight if he gets to turn his back. And at that point, your Bloodseeker can win fights 4v5 if your Bristle's the first target. So it does pressure Gaimin Gladiators a little bit in that laning as well as mid-game aspect. But if there's anything this team has proven to us time and time again is that they might be the strongest laning team of the tournament, to be honest. Like, consistently coming out of these ench lanes with a pretty major advantage most of the time.
I mean, we've had games where the score is similar on respective sides, and Gaimin Gladiators way ahead because Celery is the one dying, right? He's kind of sacrificing his life for the betterment of his team, as we're seeing him get harassed a bit, but he has the regen. Stinger does not. We'll be able to get away, but still taking heavy damage nonetheless.
Already zoning him out. The resulting one-on-one matchup being Legion against Bloodseeker up here is pretty good for Legion in the beginning levels for sure. One lane Durasio will be 5 Napalm stacks. They will expire.
Well, talk to me about mid lane. It is Chris Smile playing the Bristle versus Boom's Ember Spirit, so typically Bristle likes playing against melee heroes. Is that also the case here?
My experience with watching this matchup might be a little bit outdated, but at least back then, I want to say a year ago or something, it's not very often you see Bristle versus Ember, right? But I feel like Bristle was generally favored in this matchup. You can bypass Flame Guard entirely because your pull spray is physical damage. You just pressure him as much as possible, and then you can go and farm stacks in addition, which Ember will obviously be able to farm the small camp as well as the medium camp, but he can't go and get those Ancients as well that C-Smile will be able to do here if they do stack them for him. So a lot of the time, a mid-Bristleback with a good matchup comes out as the top net worth hero 10 to 15 minutes in, and then it's about how much you could do with it. This hero does suffer a lot from dying. There are just certain heroes in Dota that it feels like you die twice every time you die, and to me this is one of them. You really need to be ahead. When the enemy teams start getting specific items like Silver Edge, the game can get really difficult, and obviously Gaimin Gladiators have 2 potential Silver Edge buyers here in both the Chaos Knight and the Legion.
Well, speaking of the Chaos Knight, and both position 1s in fact, look at their CS. They're getting denied quite a bit from both Duraccio and the Bloodseeker from K1. So we'll see if they're able to continue this pressure or not. I mean, obviously, Legion extremely good at doing this against melee heroes. We're going to see the first courier kill of the game in favor of Celery, continuing to be a big nuisance. And bot lane, talk to me about Spirit Breaker, another hero that has kind of just disappeared after seeing so much time, I want to say, towards the last TI and a little bit post.
Yeah, I think the hero is a bit underrated, to be honest with you. I feel like everybody kind of just forgot about it. Dota is often about trends, right? Like this hero, oh, hang on, Whisper, bottom lane. There's a lot of stacks on Tofu here, though.
Yeah,
has to be careful. 8 stacked. Whisper could have thought about that one, actually.
Very slow indeed. Is not going to force Ace out of lane in the meantime, so K1 securing some last hits now as a result.
Yep.
Back to the Spirit Breaker soon.
Yeah, so I think teams kind of forgot about this hero to an extent. One of its biggest weaknesses is the early laning stage, though, where a lot of the meta lanes don't really get pressured too much by it. But what Beast Coast do when they run this Bat Rider is they actually enable themselves to pick these weaker leaning fours, because Bat Rider just works essentially as a hero that doesn't need that many CS in the beginning. It just needs experience, it needs safety. And whether they play the Tiny 4 or the Spirit Breaker 4, they enable Whisper to get off to that good start. And he will eventually get the CS that he needs. And once they have levels, they have kill threat. So this pairing is why they pick SB. I don't think they will pick it with a lot of other stuff. But you know, it's just good to see the hero. I think it's really fun. It's one of my favorite heroes to play and watch.
Nobody can deny that. Obviously, we used to see, I mean, we saw a lot of mid Spirit Breaker before TI. Sadly, we're not seeing that anymore. Stinger taking more damage from Ace, as there has yet to be a first blood, despite this being such an aggressive line. I mean, when does Beast Coast want to start, you know, getting a little bit more aggressive? Because right now they're being slightly passive based on how their lineup looks like. As I say that, it's Celery coming in with the Mud Golem onto Smile. He will live through the day, but the baby shards come out now. Those are things you truly have to fear as he kills them easily.
The little-known follow-up smash hit to Baby Shark. Baby Shard.
Is this a reference that I don't understand?
Yeah, you don't know contemporary music, Shannon. You only know old movies.
That's true.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I think Beast Coast in general in this game don't have the most play potential from the get-go, right? Their mid hero is not a ganking, rotating hero. You have a 5 Pugna. So all of the playmaking that really comes out is probably going to be from Schofield or Gojira on the Spirit Breaker. But for now, they're just content to play their lanes, which they are, in fairness, kind of losing. The 1k gold lead isn't enormous, but it's definitely, you know, standard. Gaimin Gladiators opening with Ench. This is what happens in a lot of the games, and then it comes down to how much team fighting prowess they have afterwards. So yeah, I think it's going to be relatively quiet from Beast Coast until the 10-minute mark, and then we'll see what they're up to. Tofu's going to run at Gojira here with a bit of a
connect. Gojira obviously has charge, so he's going to be more than fine. Stinger taking more damage in mid lane. He's talking about Celery coming in so early for this tier 1 mid with that catapult. And it looks like they're going to be able to get it with no real defense time. We've seen Beast Coast give up these towers relatively early as well. But once they hit their timings, that's what I think they're really strong at, is getting those timings and taking advantage of them immediately.
It's just textbook Ench. This is what you want to do. Minute 5, the siege creep comes. You identify which lane you have the highest pressure probability in. You run over there, you put the pressure pre-siege creep so that the enemy team cannot mount a defense, and then you just claim it fully. Bristleback losing his tower to Ember Minute 6 is actually a crime, you know. I feel like Beast Coast, if possible, should have done something more about this, but I just don't know if they could. It's got to feel bad, but looking at what heroes they could have rotated in, who's going to stand up to this Ench? Spirit Breaker?
Incoming. Press the attack is there for Ace. Doesn't look like he's going to continue on. Although he will hit Celery, who gets hit by the Nether Blast as well.
Boom's up here, though.
Yeah, trying to get some heals up on the Celery, but Stinger's the one that's going to be dying here. First blood the way of Gaimin Gladiators. 7 minutes in. And they're up 2k, partially because of that mid-tier 1 tower.
Yeah, but it's not just that.
It's not just that, for sure.
The Ember's 700 gold ahead of Bloodseeker, or sorry, ahead of the Bristleback. I think he's very happy about that. Obviously doesn't know it, but he knows he's having a good timing in this game.
I feel like Beast Coast are more comfortable coming back from behind. Is that just me?
I think a lot of the time it's also a consequence of how they draft, right? I think in this game, their laning will just inherently be weaker.
6 stack is sticking napalm, but Celery is in the bot lanes. We're going to see the Inkswell connect in the meantime onto C Smile, trying to find a kill on Tofu, as Boom pretty much out of mana right now, as Smile continuing to chase Tofu, to actually kill each other basically. So a 1-for-1. As meanwhile, top lane, K1 doing a little bit of damage. Ace will be able to get out with just a sliver of HP, but Gojira with the charge and K1 rupture. Okay, that was a little scary there for a second, but Beast Coast gets the better of that trade in the top lane.
Well,
as I say that, Gojira's dead. So Dyrachyo now in the top lane, level 6.
I feel like this game state might just become name of the game for this entire series. It feels like today, Beast Coast also, against BetBoom earlier, were having some really tough times in the earlier portions of the game, and then they come back through mid-game team fights. And for Gaimin Gladiators, this is their comfortable position that they find themselves in basically 2/3 of their games, but then obviously in the TSM series did not convert it to a win. So very likely that we'll be seeing more of this in the coming games of the series, but for now, it's kind of par for the course for both teams, I think, with what we could expect with the lineups. Oh, Boom. This is a very good position to be in against K1.
Yeah, gets off the slide, but Searing Chain's not used yet, but K1, there we go. He's going to take some damage, but the sleight of fist, nice dodge onto the blood right. Not enough damage regardless, though, as Boom continuing to get charged here. Tofu looks like he's going to be taken out first. And Stinger will be the trade, so support for support.
Boom's in trouble.
He does not have a remnant. Okay, he does.
Wait, he had a remnant. Got you. He wasn't in trouble at all.
I think I got myself there, actually. Smile's going to run to several members of Gaimin Gladiators. Duracio's here as well, as the hurricane action there from the Wild Wing. And that's going to break things up. Duracio pops the ult, and likely will try to pressure this Tier 1 tower on top of K1 as well. More TP support on the way for Beast Coast.
Something to keep in mind about the way that Ace skilled for the lane that he was playing is now that he's laning 1v1 against Batrider, he only has level 1 press the attack. And it might not sound like much that the cooldown...
Horsey, Smile wants to go really deep here. Inkswell's on the other side.
Good silence.
Yeah, the silence can be very annoying for C-Smile to deal with, and Boom. He's going to TP back to base with that Remnant in place. As Ace, I don't believe we saw one duel actually in the top lane, but no damage as of yet.
I think it's slightly different distances to the cameras there.
Yeah, that was a very interesting angle indeed. Let's go Gojira, Searing Chains, Inkswell's coming for you. He gets off the charge, but it looks like the Inkswell will be enough to stun him in place and the Sleight of Fist to finish him off for Boom.
Stinger will secure the 10-minute rune though. And Beast Coast have kind of stopped the bleeding a little bit, right? They were 2k behind 4 minutes ago, and now it's down to 1. And they're starting to ramp up toward that mid-game that they love to play with these heroes, so I think so far so good for them. Obviously, Gaimin Gladiators probably not unhappy either, but I'm very curious to see what we're going to get out of Ace in this game. I think a lot of the games that we've seen Gaimin Gladiators just pop off, it's been off of Ace having insane farm in that side lane matchup that he's been having. In this game, he's also doing well. It's by no means a bad look for him to be third on net worth, but a lot of their games we have, he's literally first for his team at this point, right? On Beastmaster, on Timbersaw, just ready to take over the game. Legion is a harder hero to do that on. Top lane, tower's low.
Yep, another Searing Chains coming in, and Centaur Stomp as well. Gojira just silenced perpetually, will fall, as well as that Tier 1 tower, and now they're going on top of Pugna as well, so Stinger gets off the Decrepify, but Whisper is the real prize here for Gaimin Gladiators. Another Stomp comes out with that slide.
Oh, the lasso got it off!
Is enough to take out Boom. Big turnaround for Beast Coast. They do lose 2, but they're just supports.
Makes you wonder if we can get a replay of that. I wonder if they could have selected to go for the Batrider instead of the Pugna when they chose that, because that obviously backfired really hard. Whisper finding that big kill onto the Ember. He's going to be very happy about that. And Whisper's going for the build on Bat that we've seen him do a lot in the later portions of this tournament. He's not going Boots of Travel like most other Batrider players rush. He goes Drum to have that early fighting impact. So we are going to get the replay here. So Spirit Breaker, 0 impact in this fight except tanking some spells. And now, so they do throw out the stun already, and I guess nobody can connect with Boom here. Oh, they are actually trying, but Duracio doesn't have spells ready. And Boom walking in melee range here, thinking he can get the kill, gets punished immediately. So, bit of a mistake from him there, to be honest. Uncharacteristic.
Indeed, and we talked about a lot of these players do not have experience on the stage, Cinder, so that is something to certainly keep in mind.
That's a lot of damage.
51,000. That's not possible. As Celery getting chased now by C-Smile. He's going to get Reality Rifted onto the high ground, though. 2-second stun from Duracio. Trying to face him. Ace with that duel will be the first victory of the game for him. As Gaimin Gladiators trying to continue this onslaught. Looks like 2 is going to be the limit. Another 51,000 for C-Smile. Man, he's just out of control. The 1K lead for Gaimin Gladiators. I mean, the good news for Beast Coast is in terms of the net worth, it has not really increased dramatically.
Yeah.
Still relatively even.
I genuinely think Beast Coast are in a better spot here than... Yeah, they're in a better spot than I would have expected, and I think than SVG on the panel as well was expecting. I think this is a... If you could freeze the game right now and have a look, Beast Coast are probably pretty happy over.
Dead. Oh, Boom. Dodging some spells here. He gets the Horsey off as well. Tofu. I think that's going to be enough to dissuade C-Smile. He's going to get Searing Chains on. Ace coming in with the dual Inkswell combo. Batrider is TPing in to support his team. C-Smile looks like he's going to be fine for now. Whisper with the lasso onto the Legion. Stinger in the vicinity as well. Gets off the Decrep, and that is going to be a nice turnaround kill for Beast Coast. Celery.
Yeah, a little early on the tip there, Duracio. The team didn't get the kill.
We've seen that quite a bit this tournament, actually. Steering chains coming in as well. Boom. Has to be careful, though. Inkswell connect. Looks like they'll find one. Celery healing himself, but eventually will go down. But the centaur stop onto 2 out of nowhere. He will fall eventually, though. And there's a Chaos Bolt onto Gojira. He just respawned. Looks like he's going to drop pretty much right away. Blood Rights there from K1 as well. Does connect, but man, heroes are dropping left, right, and center, and K1 is dead as well. Duracio just cleaning up. C-Smile, last remaining member of Beast Coast, now on the run. He's going to grab himself a DD. There's the pig pole. Sadly, does not give max speed Cinderin. They cannot catch up this time.
Great time for Duracio to show up there and clean house. This is a weakness that Bloodseeker has right now in the game. The hero is inherently not very tanky. He does have 10 armor as well as a broom handle and phase boot, so you would think he's tanky, but the spells are just overwhelming him right now. Just all of this random chip damage that's coming out through the fight. He can't out-heal it, so he needs Pugna to cover him, but Stinger wasn't really able to siphon enough life into him there.
Highest amount of hero damage at 14 minutes for Boom already. Man, he has been all over the place. Second in net worth this game as well. And talk to me about this. When we approach mid-game, where does each team want to be? Like, how important is it for one team to have a lead, if that makes sense? Like, how do they scale going into that time of the game?
I don't know how to really explain this in the best way, because I think you look at the Radiant lineup and how they scale into late game with both Legion, Ember, and Chaos Knight, and you feel like, wow, they will be insane late game. And the enemy team has heroes that are notorious for falling off later, right? Such as Bristleback, in some cases Bat Rider, and Bloodseeker might not feel like the best one either. But the thing I'm just holding on to all the time for Beast Coast is that if they can open up a fight with dealing some spread damage, I think their lineup can win at any portion of the game except the super early one that they did get across now. So I don't really have a clear favorite if we just do nothing but farm for 20 minutes and the net worth doesn't change. I think it comes down to who gets the clean execution, and especially the wild card for Gaimin Gladiators is Ace. I think the duel with Blade Mail is what's going to determine the outcome of most fights.
Yep, for sure. And we're going to see the first Roche attempt of this game. Gaimin Gladiators look like they're going to get it uncontested. So Beast Coast not reading this as Gojira is going to get the charge off in the bot lane, but Remnant back, Boom doing a good job of kind of baiting it out, creating some space so they can take Roche completely free. It is being scanned out, but it's going to be too late.
Yep.
So Gaimin Gladiators the first Roche. Boom picks up the Aegis and into an instant smoke. Let's see where they end up going with it. A Stinger you can see in the enemy jungle. C-Smile is showing himself bottom, so some defense needs to be mounted. It should be obvious that because they're not defending, that they're likely trying to gank somebody.
The Gladiators have really good vision up here. I think if Beast Coast tried to advance to defend this top tier 2 tower, this could end in a really bad way for them. Looks like they aren't exactly planning to do that. They're kind of just trying to fish for info here with their Bat Rider, while both Stinger and C-Smile are pushing bottom. It is only level 2 Nether Blast though, so taking this tower is taking an eternity for him. Slow and steady though.
Having said all this, Cinderin, C-Smile still top net worth now.
Yep.
8,500. He is very farmed. Has the Halberd. Already had that Vanguard at a record pace for this tournament at least, and going towards the BKB. And for K1 on the Bloodseeker, he's had the Maelstrom for a while. So again, a lot of these teams trying to sync up their BKB timings, and that feels like, especially for Beast Coast, who have such an aggressive lineup in general, that seems like the absolute go time for them.
Yeah, for sure. It's the best time for them to do something against the Radiant. The only real counter that Gaimin Gladiators have to BKB is the Legion Commander duel. When it comes to Chaos Knight, I suppose when they BKB, they are a little bit more susceptible, because they can't, like, the Decrepify isn't going to have the impact that it has in other situations in the game. But you look at Stinger, he is maxing it out, so I really like the build from him here. I think he's going to commit for it and go 2-4-2 to just have that maxed out Decrep against Chaos Knight. He's going to have it to protect from the duel. It will be a really, really nice spell to have, and it will be their reliable way of handling Legion Commander. Even if she gets BKB later, you can almost defensively duel, or defensively Decrep. And then it's a matter of, is Enchantress in range for an enchant to break it off? Or are they going to get a nullifier? Solutions definitely exist, but it's not always that easy to be in the perfect position to do it at the right time.
Tier 2 tower in favor of Gaimin Gladiators.
That was bound to fall there.
Yep, Aegis still 3 minutes to go, so expecting them to try to use it in some capacity, although they're trying to sync up their BKBs as well. We have the Blink Dagger now on CK and a smoke from Gaimin Gladiators. There's the initiation with the duel, another victory for Ace.
Nice and easy.
30 damage overall. That'd be a nice change if that actually retroactively worked, Sundaran. That could be a nice quality of life change for our favorite Legion commander.
That's not what quality of life means, though.
For the Legion, it is.
Oh, so a buff.
Something like that. Smile. All right, we got a lot of TPs from Gaimin Gladiators. 2-second stun. Remember, they don't have the Legion duel this time, as Soulbind is only going to connect onto one. They do take out Stinger quite easily, and see Smile left to his own devices. Looks like he'll eventually fall as well. So nice two-hero cleanup for Gaimin Gladiators, still with the Aegis intact.
Nice and easy punish for them, just flat out outnumbering the Bristle as well as Pugna there. Obviously no BKB available just yet for Chris, so can't really protect himself from all the stuns. And they killed Pugna first.
That's going to be a short duel.
He's not winning that.
Yeah, but you know, they get the kill nonetheless. And the outpost does not go to the enemy in this case. So Gaimin Gladiators able to extend their lead. So 5k lead for them. And we'll see, yeah, with the BKB now online for Ember, tier 1 tower in their favor as well. Yeah, but the BKBs are coming out now. So K1's got his.
Whisper's got his.
About a recipe away for the Bristle, though.
I think the Bristle's BKB is the least important, though. I wonder if they want to stall out for another 1,300 gold for him, just because with the Batrider and Bloodseeker having theirs, I actually think they're in fighting shape.
But do you want to fight into Aegis? Another minute.
That is true. If they wait that out, probably wait that minute out, but then maybe you don't wait out the full. At that point, maybe you might as well. Like, how far away are you at that? Oh, well, never mind. They do want to go.
They want to go. Stinger, he's going to get dueled, but he's completely surrounded. Looks like he'll find the dual kill himself, but here comes the counter initiation from Dyrachyo. K1 getting extremely low. Will drop. That is a huge kill for Gaimin Gladiators. Ace finally falls as Boom, again, just cleaning up left, right, and center, but CK's in a little bit of trouble. Gets a 4-second stun into his ult. C-Smile now has to run himself, but instead will have to go back to the fountain. 4 for 1 as Dyrachyo still getting chased. And it looks like he's still going to be able to armlet toggle through this. Another Chaos Bolt comes out for him, and Dyrachyo lives.
Absolutely huge way that fight starts for Gaimin Gladiators. They kill the Pugna. And on top of that, I think Bloodseeker ran into the Inkswell. I think he didn't realize that it was on the Legion during the duel. And he got chain stunned and died. Never got BKB off. Like, if they buy these BKBs and they don't get to cast them, it's just 4k gold down the drain, right? The stats on this item are absolutely awful for what you pay. On that instance, K1 definitely misreading the situation a little bit, and Gaimin Gladiators just pounce on that immediately. Now they suddenly have a huge lead. It feels like moments ago that they were 2k ahead, and now it's 9.
Yeah.
And they're building towards big items.
Oh boy, press the attack. Duel with the Blade Mail. Trying to heal him up is Stinger, but it's not going to happen. And Beast Coast starting to crumble now. 2 quick deaths for them. Looks like Gojira barely gets out, but Gaimin Gladiators doesn't really care because they're going to get a tier 2 tower in all likelihood as well. 70 damage now for Ace, as that is starting to stack up.
Yeah, that will definitely make a big difference later on, especially if you're looking at a potential nullifier so the Pugna Decrep can't save anymore.
We're looking at the fight.
There it is, right? The Bloodseeker just never gets anything off. They do their best to try to save him with Lasso, with the charge, but if you try to imagine this fight playing out with Bloodseeker BKBing before he gets Inkswelled, it's just such a different story.
Yep, Gojira died, by the way, in live.
That can happen.
Yeah, the Inkswell and the chase down. There's Gaimin Gladiators all over the place. Stinger drops as well. That is not Stinger, but he dropped. 12k lead for Gaimin Gladiators, and this is looking very grim. No pun intended for Beast Coast. But then again, in that first series, that looked 100% over. And they came back with a vengeance. Obviously, ended up losing that game, but winning the series. And I think that game 1 comeback gave them the confidence to win 2 and 3. Of course, I'm just making that up, but we'll just assume that that is true. 13k lead as Boom with the regen, BKB, opting for a Lincoln Sphere.
That's a hella fast Wraith Pack, by the way, on Ench. 23 minutes.
Did you just say hella?
Hella fast.
Wow, that is so not a you thing. As we have the initiation, okay, they're gonna destroy Gojira, and now the Soulbind onto 2. K1 has to run away. The duel actually brings them both back. That is disastrous. But the buyback onto Gojira, can they do enough to come back in this fight? They're gonna lose the Bristle back to start. Another beautiful slight. is going to get yet another kill. They do lose their Legion, though, but that was an interaction I don't think I've seen.
Really crucial for them that Whisper
sick.
gets that lasso and pulls the Legion into base, or that's just fight over. They needed to reposition it so the other heroes couldn't assist enough, and they did manage to do that with a Spirit Breaker buyback, but again, what did they gain? They got 1 kill on the Legion. Did they win any of the duels? They didn't, right? They didn't win a duel, so you're going to see that here, the Soulbind. That level 10, that talent there, that's a long cast range.
Yeah.
That is Orb of Venom melee attack range.
That was pretty sick interaction, though. And Ace, like you said, not able to actually get the dual victory, but that was basically 3 deaths for beastcoast with that buyback. So we'll see as BKB nearing, even for the Liege for Ace. So that is going to be adding insult to injury in all likelihood.
I like this from beastcoast. I think this isn't particularly obvious. If they do it really fast, they might find a big profile kill. Okay.
Yeah, well, we got the duel. Bloodright is there. This is going to slow this down a bit as Whisper trying to run away, pops the BKB, but look, Gojira looking to die again. Dyrachyo is going to whip him. Looks like the Pugna is going to be the first to fall in this little mini engagement. Gojira stuck inside the tree, gets a bash, but overwhelming odds is enough. And really Gladiators just getting everything they want.
Really like the idea, but Gaimin Gladiators are just so ready. I think beastcoast not waiting for lasso in this instance I think it's a commendable play to try to play that aggressive, try to surprise your opponents, because if you just chill out, let things reset, Gaimin Gladiators are just in control of the game, so you try to catch them off guard. Didn't work, and now this looks like it's just going to be a free Roche. No Spirit Breaker, 5v4.
Yeah, and also respecting their opponents. Some people would maybe try to push high ground there, but they did force the buyback, and they've seen beastcoast defend high ground to a very high degree earlier today. Okay, onto the high ground we go. Instant death for Stinger. Believe that is a dieback for him. C-Smile trying to take out Tofu, but he's just keeping out right in front of his face. And now Chris Smile trying to kill this Wraith Pact. That's all he's focusing on. Finally gets it. A beautiful 20 gold for him. Woo! But now he's completely surrounded and brought down to his knees. Gaimin Gladiators looking to take Roche and game number 1.
Oh, let's not get ahead of ourselves yet. They haven't taken a tier 3 tower.
It's looking good, though.
Yeah, they are looking to take the game. You're absolutely right.
I mean, technically, both teams are doing that, so it's technically correct, regardless.
But not both teams are doing Roche, so you were right about 50%, which is pretty good for you.
Appreciate that. We round up in America, so that's 100%, right?
That explains a lot.
So Aegis and Shard. Who actually picked up the Shard? Was it the CK, or did he buy that ahead of time? Yeah, it looks like it was... it might have been the Grim, actually. Grim also has it. Either way, gonna have that CK illusion on the Chaos Bolt. And Dyrachyo looking for a Silver Edge next.
It's got to feel good for Dyrachyo as well, right? So he was talking in the pre-game interview about how he felt like dropped the ball a little bit against TSM. He hasn't played on stage before. Doesn't know if he's going to be nervous. He's owning this game. He's 8-0-11. You definitely can't tell if he's nervous. He's bringing out a hell of a game here. Has done all the fundamentals correctly. He did a good laning stage, had a good rotation top that found kills. His itemization is on point. And he's finding good target selection in the fights, and also clutched it out in that fight against Batrider, right? So definitely, I can't tell.
I mean, something else to mention is the comeback, if you want to call it that, from that TSM loss, right? That was pretty heartbreaking. Sure. Both games looked like it was games that they should have won. But to come back with a day's break and look like this, which is how they have looked, to be fair, throughout the entire tournament, the DPC in general, is good to see.
It does feel like if Gaimin Gladiators, they pretty much every game against every opponent they've had, they have never... I'm trying to remember a game where they were behind in the mid game, right? They're generally either even or very far ahead, like in this game. If you can carry that with you into the next series and just realize how you dropped the ball against TSM in the series that you did and what you can do to prevent it from happening again, you're a team that could go really, really deep in this tournament, even though you're currently, quote-unquote, only top 6. You were picking them to win the whole thing, I think.
Yep.
After the group stage.
It's very possible.
That is absolutely possible. We've seen crazier comeback stories in the lower bracket before.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at their net worth this game, though, just the 2 cores of CK Ember, look at how far ahead they are of everybody else. That is a lot to make up for on beastcoast's side. As Dyrachyo,
what if you could take a loan?
And what's the downside to taking the loan? So you go to the shopkeeper, you negotiate a price, you get like 10K, and then 5 minutes later,
negative GPM.
You lose 20K. it deletes 2 items randomly after 10 minutes. That could be an interesting comeback mechanic. Ice Frog, I'm available to hire. Okay, so smoke up on both sides.
Somehow that was a way worse idea than what I was setting it up for.
As always, Stinger, he's going to be the first to get Searing Chains. Boom pops the BKB, the leash onto 2. Already a death on the side of Beast Coast. Tofu, looks like he's going to drop, but there's the duel onto Gojira. Another duel victory for Ace. As 3 dead already for Beast Coast. Onto the cliff, pulling an Arteezy. They know they're not in the tournament, might as well go out in style. Triple kill for Boom. And the only remaining member of Beast Coast is K1.
This is at least one lane. They're going to glyph and try to defend this, but there's waves both bottom and mid, so backdoor protection is not even close to kicking in, and this CK has so insanely overwhelming damage against this. No problem. They're actually already setting up for the second lane. He's heading down bottom, spawning an illusion with the Chaos Bolt, getting to work.
And technically nothing is really impeding them from going for Mega Creeps either. There is no Tier 2 tower in the top lane. We'll see if they have enough damage to actually do that. Now that the Phantasm illusions are down, they'll at the very least, like you said, get 2 sets, and we'll see how disciplined they want to play. Still with the Aegis, though, in minute 20, so I would expect them to play.
He has a backpack Silver Edge.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice.
Okay. I mean, I guess he doesn't want to swap out the treads. It just like shows how rich he is and the luxury he has of his itemization.
And this is looking like the last stand for Beast Coast in game number 1. Dyrachyo not really too afraid. Actually, a nice bash back into the lasso. Remember, he does have the Aegis. So that's death number 1. Gojira's already dead. Stinger trying to heal him, but has to be careful as Boom's been hunting him all game long. Now all the damage applied to the CK, but gets the BKB and Phantasm off. K1 is just going to drop to the illusions and Boom. And it looks like this is going to finally end game number 1 in favor of Gaimin Gladiators as the GGs come out.
What an absolute smackdown. Gaimin Gladiators. It looked like Beast Coast weathered the storm